Louis, of course, a trip on the road to Altrincham tomorrow, but in terms of this week, it's been the only week you'll get until the end of the season now, where it's been Saturday to Saturday, so you've had a bit more time with the boys during the week, training-wise and rest-wise and all that type of thing. So how have you been using the sort of extra, not time off, but not, back-to-back games as such?
Yeah, it's been really good to have the boys for the full week, to be honest with you. We've used the opportunity to refine some of our concepts and our principles in regards to how we want to attack every game, and what kind of our foundation and our structure that provides the success. We've been able to get some good load into some players that are kind of been recovering back from injury of recent or have not had as much game time, and then we've kind of had a lighter load to the back end of the week so that we can go into this game really fresh and ready to attack it head on. Yeah,
and you touch on tomorrow's game. Of course, it's a one where people will look at the league table and see it as two teams who are vying for playoff places, right in and amongst each other, only a couple of points in it, but even in terms of like goals scored, I think there's literally one goal between the pair of you. So you've both been on the sort of attacking front all season, scoring a lot of goals, that type of thing. So if you're in neutral going into tomorrow, it'll certainly be an interesting game to watch.
Yeah, I think the track record of our games against Alty have been that they've always been entertaining. They've always been quite attacking and highly competitive ever since our games back in the National League North, where we had the FA Cup ties, and then obviously getting promoted last season, and then the games this season as well. So it's two teams that ultimately have an identity and want to play their way, and not very often do they come away from that. And we just see it as a massive challenge to go and play against one of the best sides in the league, to be honest with you. Away from home, which will provide a additional challenge, and we know that there's always a good atmosphere at Alty, but ultimately the boys in a really good place. We've went through a lot of detail this week in terms of how we can constantly get better at our principles and our structure, but also as well that we know their individuals, their shape, their team inside out, so that we all go into that pitch fully prepared and, like I say, just ready to attack the game.
Yeah, and you look at Alty as part of the running of games you've got until the end of the season as well. From a neutral's perspective, I've kind of seen a few people say you've got a difficult run in, obviously with teams near the top end of the league to play still. But on the flip side, can you just flip that round and also look at it as well? We've got an opportunity to take points off teams in and around us at the top of the league.
That's exactly the mentality, to be honest with you, Jack. Every team in this league is a really competitive game, whether it's the style of play, whether it's the travel, individuals or structure of opposition teams. We don't really look too much into the league table. We just take every game as it comes, and we know that the biggest challenge for this group and the players within it is just hitting that marker and them arousal levels every game, because that's what we need for our high intensity, high energy game plan and how we want to play. We demand so much of the boys in and out of possession, so it just lends itself that it's the mentality of just looking inwards and focusing on what we can control. The double edge of that is when we play against teams in and around us or above us, it provides the opportunity to win the game and establish 3 points, but also to take points off the opposition team as well. So it's a good all-round challenge, and one thing that we're relishing, and we just take every game as it comes, and we don't really look too much at the league table. We control the controllables as much as we can.
Yeah, and how is the overall picture in terms of the squad looking with that week that you've had away from actual matches? How is everyone kind of faring at the minute?
Everyone's faring really good. Yeah, everyone's really positive and happy, and we've had a good week this week. Like I said before, we had a bit of an in-house competitive game on Tuesday, which was great to get the right load into the right players whilst nailing down some of our concepts and going through a little bit more detail, which we feel might be the difference between the next couple of games in terms of the competitive games that we have. But we've, Greg's much closer back. Joe's been able to manage, his load to make sure that he's as fresh as possible for games. Tinks has come back into the fold and now is, got that bit of rest after having a high spike after a couple of games back to back. Tommy and Larry have got some more load into them in terms of making sure that they're ready for when they're called upon, which they will be in the next couple of games. So yeah, it's been real good all round, and it's just going to make us stronger, and it just allows us to have that little bit of reset, like I say, physically and mentally ready to go in this really exciting run in the end of the season.